You do not have to come out of the gate and conquer everything right away. It's not going to happen overnight. Focus on what's sustainable in the beginning, because what's sustainable now is something that eventually might be easy.
Bad habits are easy to create and hard to destroy. Really good habits are hard to create, easy to break.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode number 1442, How to Feel Accomplished Even When You Don't Get Everything Done. Today, for episode number 1443, 6 things that will set you apart from 99% of people. I want to give credit. There is an Instagram profile at Grow with Kobe, who did a post similar to what we're going to talk about today. And it was 6 things that will set you apart from people. But I don't do many of those things. And I don't want to say many. There's things on that list that I don't do. And obviously I'm not going to say something that I don't do, because that would be very hypocritical of me. But the reason I wanted to do this episode, Alan asked me, and I said, I can imagine that it's very hard to actually understand how much progress you're making when you don't feel like you're making any. So Alan and I are doing this episode right before group coaching, and I am sleeping. I got to keep it real. The 4:30 p.m. blues hit me, so I am very, very tired all of a sudden. I don't know why. This is really why I wanted to do the episode. I was in the car today after the gym, right? Imagine me in the car after the gym, crushed a workout. And the conversation you and I were having the other day, yeah, it's going to be okay. The conversation you and I were having the other day was, if you're trying to be the best you can in health, the best you can in wealth, and the best you can in love, you're going to be very, very statistically rare.
We need to call the elephant out in the room. Why are we so giggly?
We smoked pot.
No, we didn't. For the listeners, whenever Kevin gets really tired,
yeah,
it's all funsies. It's hilarious, and I can't stop smiling.
Smarling.
I can't stop smarling.
I think, I don't know, I like these episodes too, because I know I said at the beginning of the week I felt like I was too serious. Maybe in retrospect I will say after this episode I wish I was more serious, but probably not, because this is our jam, this type of episode. The biggest difference between who you are today and who you want to be eventually is your habits. And if you can do 6 things every day, and I don't want to say every day for the rest of your life, but if you could start doing them today, and you could do them for the next 2 weeks, month, 4 months, 6 months, year, a lot can change in that amount of time. So I did a video today. I don't even think I posted it. I jeffed. It's in my phone, waiting to be posted. But when I left the gym, I said, this is one of the reasons growth is so hard. Because if you're trying to get better in health, I just left the gym. I had a great workout. It was awesome. Great. Statistically, how many people are actually training as consistently, as hard as I am, and doing the mobility that comes with it, and trying to get enough sleep? Probably not a lot of people doing all those things. On top of that, how many people also are trying to learn for X amount of time every single day, and trying to have the most aligned, intimate relationship possible, and doing all the things that come with that? I said in this video, statistically, if you're trying to get better in all 3 arenas, it's going to be way harder. You're going to feel way lonelier. And it's also going to be much harder to understand you're actually making progress, because the progress is just way less. So you want to add anything before we give the 6 things?
I do, yeah. So one of the things that I think is most powerful about this understanding, and I unpacked the math a lot in this week's episodes, but if you want to be 1 in a million, you have to be 1 in 100 in these 3 areas. So health is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Wealth is how you make your money, how much you earn, and where you invest it. And then love is your intimate relationship, family, extended family, friends, colleagues, clients, mentors, mentees. Now, at NLU, we believe in holistic self-improvement in your pocket every day from anywhere on the planet, completely free. So you obviously want to improve holistically if you're listening. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to us. You would choose another podcast. But what I think is really powerful is you realize your value more when you realize how hard it is to do this. And it doesn't give us an excuse not to do it. We're not saying this because it's like, oh, well, now I have an excuse to only focus on health and let my wealth fall, or only focus on wealth and let my love fall. That's not what we're saying. What I am saying is you are 1 in a million if you can become 1 out of 100 in all 3 of these areas. Because it's the way the math works out is 1 in 100 times 1 in 100 times 1 in 100. So that's 1 in a million. How many people really are growing, learning, improving in all 3 areas consistently over a long period of time? It's a lot lower than you think. It's a lower statistical probability than you think. I look around, Kev, you and I've been tracking habits now for 8 years. I talk about that. I have these little black notebooks with little check marks I used to do 18 things a day, which made me probably feel like a lot more of a failure than would have been beneficial. And I coach clients now all the time, and habit tracking is a pillar of my coaching. And what I really want to share with our listeners is if you are consistently doing these 6 things, you're already ahead of 99% of people, because it's very, very difficult to be consistent on one thing, never mind 6 things. And so hopefully this is empowering, not used as an excuse, but empowering to say, okay, and I say this to the NLU team all the time. I say, don't forget, I know you all feel like you're burning down. I know you all feel overwhelmed. I know you all are wearing 10 hats. I know some of you are mothers, and you're trying to do so much and succeed in so many different areas simultaneously. But just remember, every now and then you got to stop and ask yourself, how many people track habits every day? 1 in 100? Probably not. 1 in 1,000? Maybe not. 1 in 10,000? Probably. But that alone, even if you just track habits, even if it's only 3 habits a day or 6 habits a day or 9 habits a day, you're already in the serious minority. And Kev, you can attest, having tracked habits for 5 years now, it's a complete life changer.
Yeah. I cannot imagine life without it. I cannot imagine life without it. And I try to tell people that all the time. Again, if I look at all impressive, it's just a lot of the stuff I'm doing behind the scenes. It's just consistency. The consistency of doing the same things every single day for the last, I won't say for the last 6 years, because it's evolved and it's changed. And I do some things more. I do some things less. I just started some things. I don't do some things I used to. But you have habits. Whether you know it or not, you have habits. I don't think I need to build positive habits is as empowering as saying I would benefit from turning some negative habits into more positive ones. You already have habits. It's not like you need to create habits. You have them. Just some of them are misguided currently. There's a difference between a habit of stopping and getting a donut and a coffee every day and a habit of prepping meal prep. It's just a substitute habit. Now you have to build it obviously through the process, but I'm just saying, I know that can seem very, very hard / impossible at times to say I need to build a new habit.
We're really teasing the 6 here before we give them, but I have a question for you.
You're listening to this, you're probably saying, can you guys just do it? Say what they
you
are.
just tell us.
We don't actually
have
any.
After this.
We don't have any.
We don't have any for you.
There's none.
Right after this. Kev, I hope that the listeners know that I'm not picking on you when I say things like this.
Why don't you pick on me then?
When I first met you,
yeah,
you not only didn't track habits, but you were consistent in fitness. You consistently trained. But other than that, I would say you were fairly directionless.
Yeah, it's fair.
Fairly directionless in comparison to you now.
I would say so.
So as someone who used to live day to day, paycheck to paycheck, week to week, kind of winging it, not even kind of winging it, like super winging it, what would you share for someone about the benefits of tracking habits? Like, sell us on it.
You want me to sell you on it?
Yeah.
Imagine never waking up again and not knowing exactly what you needed to do to move the needle on your most important goals. That it's a level of certainty that I didn't imagine I could ever have. I never wake up and say, wow, what should I do today? It never happens, ever. Because I know exactly what I should be. I have a list of 23 things on it's always up. So it's literally the first window I have up, or the first tab I have up. Kevin Palmieri, CFO, Peak Performance Tracker. So I understand it can seem constricting, but I do believe the constriction is focus, because that's really what it's doing. It is constricting because it's focused. It's making you focus on the things that are most important. But the 6 habits, which we're going to get to here within the next 45 to 50 minutes, if we figured out how long it would actually take you to do these, it's probably an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels so overwhelming at first because, and I'll share this briefly with a client.
And then we're going to give them. We are going to give them.
We're going to give them. She just started tracking 6 habits. And I audioed her. I talked about this on an episode earlier this week. I audioed her and I said, listen, it's a big self-esteem hit at first. Because whether it's because we live in a digital world with constant distraction and phones and rings and dings and beeps and booms and zips and zaps, we are essentially distracted on average every 3 minutes is what the research shows. And back in our parents' days and our parents' days, Emilia was actually just sharing some stuff about her grandfather. Back in their day, they didn't have Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or how many channels? I remember my grandma and grandpa, they used to watch their programs when they would babysit us. And there was like 5 channels or something. It was like when I was a little kid. And they talked about back in their day when they didn't even have TV and there was no distractions. The newspaper didn't pop out at you, you know? And I just think that when we realize how hard it is for us to stay focused, it can be really alarming, but it's also super empowering. It's like taking a magnifying glass and really sort of honing the sunlight into, if you ever did detrimental things to insects as a kid or burnt holes in leaves. I used to burn holes in leaves with a magnifying glass as a little kid. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. But it also is going to hurt at first, potentially, because you'll realize, oh, wow, this idea I had of myself of, yeah, I can totally be consistent. You realize how hard it is to be consistent. And that's the humility piece that I want everyone to have. I thought I could write every day. The idea I have of myself is, I can totally write every day. Yeah, no problem. It's like ridiculously difficult to write every day. I have so much respect for some of these authors. Oh my God. It's like, it's wildly difficult to write every day. Alarmingly difficult. It bothers me to my core. You're not alone in this being difficult, but if you pick, what I will tell you is if you do these 6 things and you do them consistently and they do become habits, they eventually get to the point where they're kind of automatic. And ironically, the other stuff falls, but this stuff never falls. And, so let's get into them.
Let's get into them. So obviously health, wealth, and love is NLU. That's what we mean when we say holistic. Health, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Wealth, how you make your money, the stuff you spend your money on, where you're investing your money, that. And then love, your intimate love, your family love, your self-love, the love of your friends, that. So under wealth, track your finances and learn for 30 minutes a day. Track your finances. How much, whatever the easiest thing for you is. You can write what the number in the bank account is today, and then you can write the number in the bank account tomorrow and then figure out what the difference is, positive or negative. Awesome. You can carry around a little notebook, and every time you spend money, you write it down and you figure out how much money you spend. You can do whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be cookie cutter. It doesn't have to be what we suggest. It doesn't have to be what we do. Honestly, it probably shouldn't be what we do.
The thing that I would recommend, just having worked with so many clients on this, the most powerful and simplest, what's called the complexity, simplicity sweet spot, I found is looking and just tracking the number in your bank account.
Okay.
If you write down the number in your bank account, you can do it in Google Sheets if you want and put the date and then just put the number in your bank account, or you can write it down physically in your journal. And we have a Next Level Dreamliner, which is going to be a next level journal, agenda, planner, whatever you want to use it for. And that's coming soon. It's going to be a quarterly thing. That's at the beginning of 2024. But the point is whatever journal you have, whatever notebook you carry, whatever, or Google Sheets, whichever you prefer, you just look at the number in your bank account and you write that number each day. That is going to give you so much more awareness as to what's going out and what's coming in.
Love it. So that's the first one.
Hi, my name is Tim Melanson, and I have a web development agency called Creative Crew Agency, and I'm also a podcast host of the Work at Home Rockstar podcast. I met Alan a little over a year ago. He was a guest on my podcast, and we had an epic conversation, and I was just really impressed with his work ethic. And so I decided to jump on board with him, and it's been a little over a year now. My business has grown, but more importantly, I feel much less stressed and much more purposeful with what I'm doing and the direction that I'm going. So I definitely highly recommend Alan. If you're looking for some accountability, if you're looking for some tools, then look him up, take him up on his consultation.
Second one, learn for 30 minutes a day. What does that mean? You can read a book for 30 minutes a day. You can watch a YouTube video for 30 minutes a day, watch a couple TED Talks, Audible, whatever it may be. A coaching call if you had a coach and you worked with them every single day. Whatever you want to consider learning. It doesn't have to be directly connected to your area of expertise, whatever. It's totally up to you. How does that lead to wealth? It helps you learn more about things. And when you become more capable and you become more competent, you're more capable of making more money.
NLU counts.
NLU, yeah. If you listen to an episode every single day, you're doing your 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, unless it's a 22-minute episode.
Well, it depends. You and I have not been doing
usually
22.
They're not.
Yeah.
It'll almost always count.
Almost always. 1, track finances. 2, learn for 30 minutes per day, whatever that means for you. Okay, that's under wealth. Under love, play the gratitude game with your partner. So every night before you go to bed, every morning when you wake up, whatever you want your schedule to be, say one thing you're grateful for about your partner, have them reciprocate. Alan and Amelia do 3 each. They do it at night before bed. Tara and I do it at night before bed. I'm sure that's probably so you can kind of end the night. You know, almost every night you're going to go to bed together. Every night you're going to go to bed. So that could be your habit to say, okay, before we go to bed, if I'm away or you're away, we can send audios, we can do a FaceTime, whatever it may be.
I often will text as well. And if you ever miss, the next morning you can text them. Just 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom from the previous day. 3 things you're grateful for about them that day. Simple.
I like 1.
And I recommend doing 1. Yeah.
I was going to say.
I would start with 1.
You can do as many as you want, whatever is sustainable. Start with what's sustainable. You can always add. It's hard to go backwards.
Agreed.
It's harder to go backwards.
I think start with 1 and then build to 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And don't do more than 3 because we tried that and it ended up at one point 25. It was long.
Too many.
20-minute audio. Too many.
Okay. Second thing, 1 intentional connection. So what do we mean by that? Alan suggested doing quality time, and then he said, well, we have to do stuff that we're actually doing. And when we were in Pittsburgh, we weren't really doing quality time with our partners because we were away. But what we did do is we did a FaceTime every night. Except one night, Taryn fell asleep and I didn't do a FaceTime with her. But it was understood that that was the intention behind it. So whatever an intentional connection for you is, we had, for a while, Taryn and I were trying to make sure that we had like a 5-second kiss every day at some point throughout the day. Even if we're running around, whatever it is, just being intentional around, okay, I want to make sure that my partner feels like, what are you smiling about?
I forget what movie it was, but not, real quick, little 5-second Frencher. Do you know what movie that's from?
I don't. No.
It's from a comedy.
It sounds familiar, but I don't. I think
remember. It's Anger Management. I think
I haven't seen that. In a long
could
time.
be wrong, but
whatever you can do intentionally to connect with your partner, whatever that means to you.
Quick 5-second Frencher.
if that's what it is, more power to you. So gratitude game, 1 intentional connection with your partner. If you're riding solo, if you're single and you don't have a partner, you could do gratitude game about your life, and you could make sure you're filling your own cup. What does that look like? Maybe it's 30 minutes of your favorite show. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe it's yoga before bed, whatever. Reading in bed, whatever filling your cup is. And then under health, exercise for 30 minutes per day and weigh yourself. Exercise for 30 minutes per day. What does that mean? Going for walks. Maybe it's cycling. Maybe it's doing yoga. Maybe it's weight training. Maybe it's running. Whatever you would consider exercise. Again.
Yogging.
We
don't have to be off at the top of the hour, by the way.
What is yogging?
We are prepared for the group coaching.
Yeah, we're good.
I feel like you're trying to hammer
No. I'm just trying to keep it. I know if I let you go, we're going to be here all night. I'm just trying to keep us. For sure. What is yogging?
Yogging is running for an extended period of time. Apparently you just run for an extended period of time. It's jogging.
I know that now. I thought it was a real thing.
No, it's not a real thing.
You're just saying the J is a Y.
Yeah, it's from Anchorman.
Okay. So we're
It's
just
from
gonna,
a movie.
You have any other references you'd like to use?
No,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay. Exercise for 30 minutes per day,
Mm-hmm.
and then weigh yourself. Would you suggest tracking the weight?
Yeah.
Maybe not in the beginning, but
it-
eventually.
I think if you are writing down your bank account number, I think you should write your weight next to it as well. I do. I think it's important. At least that way it never gets ahead of you.
And
You can either have the pain up front or the pain later. We talked about that in the last episode. The pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. It's a Jim Rohn quote. It's very, very powerful. And I'd much rather have the awareness along the way. That's why sometimes I like the inner tube analogy. You're at the beach and you're on an inner tube and you doze off for 10 minutes and all of a sudden you're 2 miles down the beach.
You think I'm falling asleep in the ocean, son? Come on.
No, it's like a lake, beach, you know? The point is that you don't want to wake up 5, 10, 15 years down the road and go, what happened? Oh my God. That happened to us for sure in fitness, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, it happened to me. I was like, oh, whoa, gotta get a hold of this. So
Definitely. This is not from a judgmental perspective, but I really want you to think. How many of the people in your life track their finances? How many of the people in your life learn for 30 minutes per day, non-negotiable? It's on their mind. They're very intentional about it. And they're seeking ways to learn more. How many play the gratitude game with their partner? How many have an intentional connection with their partner? How many exercise for 30 minutes per day? How many weigh themselves every single day? If you think of how many people just do one of those things, okay, how many people do 2? How many people do 3? How many people do 4? How many people do 5? You might be the only person that does 6. That's awesome. That means you're making way more progress than you realize, but it just doesn't seem like it because it takes let's just say it takes an hour. Well, let's say it takes an hour and a half because in the 30 minutes of exercise and the 30 minutes of learning, you're doing it together. Say you're going to habit stack. You know what? I'm going to walk and I'll listen to NLU. Cool. That's 30 minutes. And in the rest of the stuff, tracking finances, probably not going to be super hard. Doesn't take long to log into the bank account, see the number, write it down. Cool. This is what it was compared to yesterday. Intentional connection, 5 minutes. Weigh yourself. That's a minute. Gratitude game. That's a minute. Right? It won't take you a tremendous amount of time to do it. And I think we also have that belief that it can't be this easy. In terms of, it can't be this simple. Just do these things. It's challenging to do, but if you do them for a long enough period of time, then you elevate the way you track your finances. Then it just gets a little bit more challenging / valuable. Then maybe you do 45 minutes of exercise. Maybe you do 2 gratitudes. Maybe you weigh yourself and you track your calories, or weigh yourself and drink X amount of water. This is a really good foundation to build habits on further down the future.
Amy L. on the team gave me permission to share this and celebrate her. She used to deal with chronic illnesses. She struggled. She used to call her body a broken piece of garbage. And when I first presented the 30 minutes of exercise per day, she said there's no way. And now she's coming up on a year without a single miss. And so if you're out there like, there's no way I could do this, just start small and try. And you might be pleasantly surprised because one day turns to 2, 2 turns to 3, 3 turns to 4. Now she's almost a full year of exercising 30 minutes a day. And some of the days when she wasn't feeling well, it was just 30 minutes of yoga. It was 30 minutes of whatever body movement she wanted to do. So it's not necessarily hardcore weight training or hardcore HIIT training. It's some form of moving your body for 30 minutes a day. And don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, and it will have an effect on your self-esteem. That's the biggest thing I notice with clients. Their self-esteem goes up so much, in fact, that sometimes some of them get arrogant. And that's much better than not believing in yourself, and then eventually life humbles you. So I'm not trying to call anyone out. But the point is some people's self-esteem goes so high that it actually gets the best of them. And that's happened to me many times as well.
I told you before this, I said when I was in Vermont, I was super excited to work out. I enjoyed it. I was away, but I still wanted to do the stuff. I still wanted to exercise, and I learned every day. I enjoyed that.
It's become harder for you to miss than harder for you to hit. In the beginning, it was so hard for you to do these things. And now it's actually hard for you not to do these things.
Because it's more intentional. I have to be intentional with taking a day off now. It's, okay, I'm not, my back's bothering me, I'm going to take a day off. Or I'm going to go walk instead of lifting, right? It depends. I told Taryn, I said, I'm super excited to work out in Belgium. I have actually. I worked out in London only once or twice. I didn't work out a ton in London, but I wanted to. It was important for me to at least go to the gym once while I was there. I want to hold the identity of the person that I think I am. So I'm very excited.
Self-esteem, keeping the promises you make to yourself. It helps you feel good about yourself. And if you feel good about yourself, everything's going to succeed at a higher level. If people felt better about themselves, not ego, but from a place of earning it through habits, I mean, I think it's the most important thing other than self-belief is the humility to start small and keep the promises to yourself so that you have higher self-esteem. And I always say that you're not going to achieve your dreams without self-esteem. Think about the people who achieve their dreams. They have ridiculously high self-esteem, sometimes to a detriment. Yeah. But it's because they're earning it usually behind the scenes when no one's watching.
That's my next level nugget. These 6 things. It doesn't have to be, you do not have to come out of the gate and conquer everything right away. It's not going to happen overnight. Focus on what's sustainable in the beginning, because what's sustainable now is something that eventually might be easy. It's not going to be as hard as it is now forever. My goodness.
How hard was it in the beginning versus now?
It was very, very humbling in the beginning because it wasn't top of mind. It wasn't intentional. It was, let me look and see what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, I'm supposed to post on social. Yep. I'm supposed to do this. Now I know. I don't even have to look at my list anymore. I know all the things. So yeah, it was way harder in the beginning because it wasn't intentional. Now it's harder not to do because I've been doing them for so long. And you start to have the conversation with yourself that, I mean, all I got to do is post on social media. It's not that hard. What's that going to take me 3 minutes? It's not that big of a deal. Then you sell yourself on the other way. I want to weigh myself. It's right there. It's right next to, I wake up every morning. I walk into the bathroom, I pee, and then I jump on the scale, and then I remember it, and then I write it down when I get home from the gym. It's not that. I don't want to break that. I want the numbers. I want to know that. So the only thing I would say is just try to frame it as empowering. Again, if it seems constricting, it's because it's focused. And if you think of focus, focus is constricting. Alan was talking about the magnifying glass. Why does the light through a magnifying glass burn? Because it's so constricted. It's so focused. So if it does feel constricting, it's because it's very focused, and maybe that's something relatively new to you. I know it was for me when I started tracking habits. What's your next level nation? What's your next level nugget, son?
My next level nation.
What's your next level nation?
My next level nugget is bad habits are easy to create and hard to destroy. Really good habits are hard to create, easy to break. So you're not alone in the struggle of this. I've coached so many people. Everyone struggles with certain habits. Everyone has some really good habits, and they always hit those. Everybody. And everybody struggles with some habits. For me, writing consistently is the one I'm working on right now. It is so alarmingly difficult. I've been working on that one for a long time. But there's other things I do, no problem, every single day, no problem. So just understand you're not alone in the struggle of this. There's not a person I've ever met who doesn't struggle with certain habits.
Strong work. Next level nation. If you are looking to build stronger habits, and one of those habits maybe is surrounding yourself with more like-minded people, our 12th round of group coaching starts on October 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be taking 10 people. It is bi-weekly calls with Alan and I. There's a WhatsApp group. You get access to Optimal for free. It's part of the program, and we will help you create your habits, and you'll start very, very sustainably, and you'll prove to yourself that you can do it. And as you prove to yourself that you can do it, you'll get more habits. And is everything going to change in 90 days? No. Not everything, but you will come out of there more confident for sure. You will have more self-belief. You'll have more self-esteem, and you'll have proven to yourself that maybe you're more capable than you've given yourself credit for. So if you are interested, we'll have the link in the show notes. With the discount code, it ends up being $96.60 per month. I have never seen a group coaching program as affordable as ours. We want it to be affordable so it's accessible. So please join if you have been interested and have not been able to join a previous group.
The value of that program, the amount of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears that Kevin and I, Jesse as well, have poured into making that program as good as humanly possible, it's insane how cheap it is. And I don't mean cheap in a negative, it's not worth it way. I mean, it's so affordable. And just, yeah, I hope that you give it a shot. I really hope you give it a shot. If you have any questions about the program, we can send you the Instagram handles of people that have been through the program so that you can talk to them about what their experience was. So just reach out. There's a promo code. Email Kevin or myself and say, I'm interested, and we'll get you whatever you need to know. Also, we have as Kevin already mentioned, an app called Optimal. It's a habit tracking app. The link will be in the show notes. You click that. There'll be a welcome video. It's how you track habits. And if you don't want to track habits in your notebook physically, you can use this habit tracker. I use this habit tracker every single day. It's really simple. It's green, yellow, or red. Green means you did it. Yellow means you kind of did it. Red means you didn't do it. And then there's most important win, most important improvement. So each day you can improve and look at what you're successful at and what you need to improve for the next day. Simple, simple, simple. Start with 3 habits, eventually jump to 6, and everything you need to know will be at the link in the show notes.
Tomorrow for episode number 1444. We talked about money today a little bit. One of the best possible uses for your money. I was on a podcast today about money and financial stuff, and it was very, very interesting. And that was one of the questions I got asked at the end. What is a piece of financial advice you'd give to the audience? So that is where I came up with the thought behind this episode. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Track dem habits. Next Level Nation.